welcome to Gemstone Tarot. Wednesday, 25th of September, no, 24th of September, whew, that was close, 2025. We have what I would say is a very moderate noise going on at the moment. There is a tipper truck, but you know, they're doing something quite calm, and over the weeks that they've been here, I've started to get Stockholm syndrome, you know, like you do in a real, well, that's not bad, you know, there's some kind of tipper truck up like that, and I can actually touch it outside from my living room window, and a guy going like that as I'm trying to like fork some spaghetti into my mouth. Hello, Dave. So this has now become my normal, but it could all change. Things change fast in the digging holes in the road game. I've noticed this. It's like 1 minute you're all right, and there's this sort of hum and like brr, and stuff like that, and then it's like like that. So I'm not making any promises, but anything could happen Wednesday. That's what we're christening today, and we are using Wisdom Swing of the Oracle. Wisdom of the Oracle. Itchy nose. Don't mind if I do. Let's have a looky-see. How are you getting on? It's the peak of the week. We have had, well, we're in eclipse season. Oof. Ooh, okay. There's a lot of wood in this reading. Ha ha ha. But there is. Okay. God, I've got such an itchy nose. First card we get is the Tribe. Now, I think that sort of splish splashy, sploshy full moon Pisces lunar eclipse drew back the curtain. My phone just made a noise, I don't even know where it is. Drew back the curtain, and we kind of got to see a bit like, you know, when we were all made to stay at home for 2 years or whatever, and I saw that post on Instagram where it said we are 4 months away from seeing everyone's natural hair colour, and I took it upon myself to colour my own hair. I think I've told you this before, which I will never do again because I am very bad at hair, and I did it with a rubber cap on my, it was awful. Anyway, yeah, that was good. So what was I talking about? I'm talking about the Tribe, and I'm talking about drawing back the curtain. I'm seeing people for who they really are, okay? Not necessarily in terms of hair colour, because hair dye is great. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I know it's like, it's a thing at the moment, isn't it? For people, and it's good as well if you've got the courage, which I don't have. But I don't know if there's ever a need to know anyone's natural hair colour. I think not. I think it's one of the few things that is gifted to us that it's not that difficult and not too expensive if you can get a cheap hairdresser. Like, I've got a really good cheap hairdresser. But anyway, tip your hairdresser well. The Tribe, who belongs, who doesn't, but it's not in a kind of, you know, you're in, you're out, like you a doorman, you know, in a Parisian nightclub. Allez, entree. That came from my nightclub experience in Paris, which we will talk about another time. But the Tribe is more of a sort of evolution. Who's evolving to be inside the perimeter rather than outside the perimeter? Okay, who's evolving? Next to that, we've got two very, what I would call sort of practical, perfunctory, but secretly full of wisdom type cards. We've got Building Blocks, which always reminds me of Tetris. Do you remember Tetris? It was an awful game, really. And I did play it when coming, I don't know why I did this, but coming round from an operation, like in my 20s, I, for some reason, played Tetris on some sort of handheld device. Don't advise that. It was like I was in that sort of liminal space that you get into when you've had a general anaesthetic and you've woken up, where you kind of, I thought I was the blocks. You know, there was no line between me and the blocks. That was an interesting game of Tetris. You're like, I don't know, I could have only been playing it for minutes, but it felt like eons. But anyhow, apart from that, it's building blocks, doing things step by step. We had the new moon, partial solar eclipse in Virgo. It's an earth sign, but it's mutable. And I feel that mutable vibe for the tribe. You know, it's not one in, one out. And by the way, I forgot to say that Valentine is here. Hey, Val. You see the thing behind her? That's one of my favourite jumpers. And earlier when she came up here, she jumped on that jumper, so I let her because I'm soft. And now she's like besmirched it, and then she's discarded it. I know. She's like, you know, I liked your jumper for 5 minutes and I got comfy on it. But now, I'd rather go straight onto your sister's handmade patchwork quilt. Thank you very much, if you don't mind. Hey, Val. I love you, little. You're gorgeous, aren't you? I call her Snaggletooth now, because one of her teeth sticks out at the side. Okay, so we have the tribe and we have building blocks. Both fairly practical, both kind of an evolution, right? So no sudden moves here, okay? This is more of a, it's wending its way. Wending. Wending. What a verb, if it is indeed one. Chop wood. Fetch water. This is a sort of Buddhist principle of a card, in that daily practice of what I call cleaning the bog, doing the shower. I had a good time doing the shower this morning with some Jif and a toothbrush. Doesn't happen all the time, but if I'm stressed, I will get in there. You know, I'll channel it into not just cleaning. Cleaning's not enough if I'm stressed. I need to clean the thing you never want to clean. Like I need to take, you know when you get those fans with the little string? I need to take it out and I need to get inside it and I need to utterly clean it from start to finish. This is not something that happens often. It kind of happens when I'm in a bit of a period of overload, as in with the street being dug up and all the rest of it. So, chop wood, draw water, don't be afraid to sweep your side of the street, to tend to what you need to tend to, and to look after yourself, which is a very much used phrase, but not much meant and not much taken. So, I mean really look after yourself in the very unglamorous sense of whatever it takes and whatever you need, and no apologies, no explanations, okay? And then, and I'm very pleased to see it because this is one of my favourites, because it's like a water turtle, which is gorgeous, and treasure, which is always nice, and confetti hearts, which is lovely, provided they're ecologically sound and will dissolve. So, Treasure Island is, it's not kind of like, here's the carrot that you're going to get, but it's definitely a payoff of sorts. And like I always say about nice things, lucky things, and blow-ins, you know, of serendipity, don't ask too many questions about it. It's just something nice to celebrate. So this could be, it's not particularly traceable to anything that you did or didn't do. It's just there. But having said that, keeping a sense of who your tribe is part of the structure. Building blocks also talk about foundation and doing things sort of bit by bit. And this sort of very humble keeping house or housekeeping emotionally, keeping an eye on yourself, keeping a check on your levels, you know, and where you're coming from, where you're going to, who's in your tribe, who you don't need in your tribe, or just the way that it's wending. That's all good. It's all part of the structure, and it supports this kind of more carefree juju of not having to explain something and not being bound by anything, which in turn means that you attract more and receive more, which is very, very nice. I love that. Do check the playlist because the October readings are coming out. That's my sporadically bit. It's much more difficult for me to record at the moment because I have to take my moments while I can, and they're not always the moments that are the right time. But they're coming out, so there'll be a playlist underneath. and do check out and see if yours is there yet. If not, it will be soon. And I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.